Okay, I'm gonna do one more chapter, and then I actually have to go make dinner because I am hungry, and I know for a fun fact that my blood sugar is like lowering at the moment. It's hard. Okay, anyway. No working star zap, no shooting star. Was it even possible for Ophelia to get back to Starland? Scarlet wondered, even if they had found Ophelia's wisher and somehow she granted her wish in time, they could use Scarlet's star zap to lead them in the right direction, at least, which Scarlet quickly had them do. But how if every other star darling so far had collected less energy than she'd hoped on her mission? Could an incompetent starling like Ophelia ever collect enough to enable Scarlet's star and star zap to take them both home? The answer, Scarlet realized, was that it wasn't her problem, and she couldn't help smiling as she thought about it more. Sure, it would have been too bad if a wish didn't get granted. Scarlet valued the energy wishes produced as much as anyone else. Give me a minute. And yet, if it meant Ophelia was stuck on Wishworld and out of the cosmos, at least for a little while, that would also mean Scarlet's star darling status would return and her reputation would undoubtedly be redeemed. And Scarlet would just make up for the energy loss on her own mission, when the next wish orb chose her. Does she not think that there are gonna be only, 7 wish orbs left, and not 10, or 8, like she's thinking that there might be? The thought burned so brightly in Scarlet's mind she couldn't think about anything else, including the quaint, quiet Wishworld town she and Ophelia soon found themselves in. Moon and stars, Ophelia murmured as she hung close by Scarlet's side. She tried to link arms with Scarlet, but had instantly sensed her mistake. Wishworld is so much different than Starland City. Somehow I thought they'd be more alike. This town is different, Scarlet agreed, as she too took in the scene. Unlike the gleaming, high-rise-filled Starland capital that went on for Floozles, not including the suburbs, which stretched beyond that for Floozles more, the Wishworld town appeared to be built around a single two-way street lined with tidy little stores. Scarlet read some of the signs in the windows and above the rectangular glass doors. Lee's Hardware, Granny's Toys and Games, Marvin's Luncheonette, Annie's Fudge and Ice Cream Shop. She wasn't sure what every word meant, but she felt like she got the idea. A few dull yet cheerful adult wishlings strolled along the sidewalks, greeting one another as they passed. "Hey there," a man said warmly to Scarlet and Ophelia. He was pushing a cart full of folded papers and rectangular packages. Those were covered with paper, too. He stopped at the corner by a large blue boxy container with a slight dented rounded lid. The starlings watched him reach into the pocket of his short blue pants and pull out a key on a cord. He used it to open a door in the side of the box, where he found more paper. "He's one of the wishlings who asked me about the circus," whispered Ophelia, but he didn't seem too curious about her anymore. If he or any of the wishlings in the town thought Ophelia or Scarlet looked out of place, they were not letting on. "This seems like a small town," Scarlet told Ophelia. "I don't think all the cities on Wishworld are this size. Just like on Starland, there are different kinds. Have you ever been to Solar Springs?" "Solar Springs?" "You know, where Gemma and Tessa are from." Ophelia shook her head. Scarlet shrugged. "You're not missing much. It's a lot like this place." "So, where have you been?" she asked. Ophelia tapped her fingers together. "Nowhere," she replied. "I've never been outside of Starland City before. I mean, until now." "Not even Old Prism?" Old Prism was the original Starland settlement and most popular tourist destination on Starland. Nearly every family took at least one vacation there. But not Ophelia's family. Evidently, she looked down and shook her head in reply. "I didn't mean to make you feel bad," Scarlet assured her. "Star apologies. I'm just star-prized. You know, you're lucky you don't have parents like mine, who dragged you all over Starland with them." Do you really think? "I think you're lucky to have parents," said Ophelia. She added, "I never actually got to know mine." Scarlet caught a breath and swallowed it. Those were not words she expected to hear. She instantly wished she could have taken her own words back, but it was too late. Now what? She thought. How was she supposed to respond to something like that? So you're an orphan. You need parents? Feel free to take mine. Scarlet had never been good at finding the right thing to say. That kind of stuff was hard. Luckily, she didn't have to say anything because Ophelia said something first. Stars! Look! Palm scanners! Ophelia pointed across the street at a square yellow box set on top of a pole. Inside, a big red hand flashed on and off. There was another one, they noticed, on their own corner, high above their heads, and they did resemble palm scanners in some ways. Scarlet thought, but something about them wasn't quite right. First of all, yes, they were much, much too high for a whistling palm to reach. Plus, there were no doors to be opened that Scarlet could see. I wonder how you reach them, said Ophelia. She stood on her toes and stretched her hand as far up to the one on their corner as it would go. Still, there was more than an arm's length between her hand and the red one, even when she jumped. Let's figure that out later, said Scarlet, when we have to. Right, said Ophelia. Of course. Just then, a large yellow whistling vehicle rode past them on those round black things Wishlings called whirls. That's a school bus, said Scarlet. And look, here comes some more. What's a school bus? Asked Ophelia. Are you serious? Said Scarlet. She was. They're like star buses, but they roll along on the ground instead of hovering above it. They take Wishling students to school when they don't already live there. Oh, so we're getting close to a school? Very close, said Scarlet. She looked down at the street at a large tan building with a tall gray pole planted in front of it. Look, Scarlet, stars, said Ophelia, pointing to the flag at the top. I know where they are. They're in the States. At least, yeah, because I think it's like one of the only flags, like country flags, that has multiple stars on it. There wasn't enough breeze to keep the tricolored banner flying, but now and then it caught a gust. There wasn't enough breeze to keep the tricolored banner flying, but now and then it caught a gust. Scarlet saw the stars and instantly counted half a hydron. Half a hydron? I wonder how, like, hydron means 100. There's half 100. Yeah. Anyway, so is this a school? Ophelia asked as they watched the first yellow bus and several more exactly like it turn in and pull to a stop in front of the building. Scarlet nodded and checked her stars app. It was precisely where the directions led. It's so quiet. Where are all the Wishlings? Said Ophelia. That was when they heard the bell. It came from inside the school, but even from far away, the ringing hurt their ears. What was that? Ophelia asked Scarlet, just as the doors to the school burst open and a flood of young Wishlings came pouring out. Scarlet and Ophelia stood and watched lines form beside each school bus while other Wishlings simply walked away. Oh, stars, did we miss the school day? Ophelia said with a gasp. Is everyone going home? What are we gonna do? I'll never find my Wishling now. Not if you stand there like that, you won't, muttered Scarlet, grabbing her by the arm. She dragged Ophelia toward the school and pointed to her bracelet. Keep an eye on your wish pendant, she reminded her, sure that she'd forget. We'll know we found your Wishling as soon as it starts to glow. Scarlet eyed Ophelia's bracelet, too, as they hurried past each bus. The lines outside the vehicles had all but disappeared. Engines were revving, and drivers were calling, "All right, find a seat and sit in the back there." Superstar, there it goes, said Scarlet as the bracelet blinked. Your wisher must be on this bus. A Moogle later, she sighed. Oh no, the sun just caught a facet. It isn't glowing. Never mind. She turned as a group of girls brushed past them, then paused by the closest bus. One girl was quite tall by Wishling standards, with laser-straight rows of tight black braids. The others were of average Wishling height. One had straight, fair hair that hung smoothly down her back. The other's hair was dark and thick and curly and seemed to defy the basic rules of wish world gravity that Scarlet had learned in school. "So you're sure you can't come home with us?" that girl was saying. "Sorry, I really am," the tall girl said. "I have all these chores to do today." The fair-haired girl sighed heavily. "You know this project is due on Friday," the first girl said. Why did I go into an accent? "And we're all supposed to contribute. This is a part of our grade." "Yeah, a big part." The other girl flipped her pale hair back with a toss of her head. "And we're doing all the work. I mean, I wish you'd said something about all these doctor's appointments and your piano recital and today's chores when we started on this. If it's just chores, can't you do them later?" said the curly-haired girl. "Won't your mom understand if you just explain?" The tall girl chewed on the other side of her bottom lip. "Well, you see, it's my stepmom, and well, she's like so mean." "Oh, sorry." The two girls nodded sympathetically. The tall girl heaved a heavy sigh, as if that was the story of her life. So what about tomorrow?" The girl with the fair hair asked more gently. "Can you at least come home with us then? If the chrysalises start hatching today, like I think they will, we'll have our butterflies and that'll be it." "Oh, I hope they hatch today," said the curly-haired girl. "Oh, I hope they hatch today," said the curly-haired girl. "I know, right? I can't wait." Her blonde friend clapped quietly as if beating a snare drum. "Ooh, you know what we should do? We should have a big butterfly party and celebrate." "Yes!" The two traded aha grins while the third girl looked down at her shoes. "Your stepmom would let you do that, wouldn't she?" the blonde girl asked. The tall girl shrugged. "I don't know. She's so mean, like I said." "All aboard!" the bus driver called through the door just then. Both girls looked up and waved. "Coming?" The curly-haired girl turned back to the tall girl. "See you tomorrow, I guess, Arden." "See you tomorrow, Chloe. Bye, Sydney." "If the butterflies hatch, we'll text you." "Great. Yes, definitely do. Sorry about your stepmom and all." "Thanks," the girl murmured. "It's kind of hard." "It's her." Scarlet leaned over and hissed to Ophelia, more into her pigtail than her ear. "Do you really think so? How do you know?" Ophelia turned to her. "Are you sure?" Scarlet twisted her mouth in irritation. "Check your wish pendant and you'll see. I'll bet my stars it's that stepmother." Her eyes narrowed at the thought. It's a classic wish world wish. She'd probably been wishing to get rid of her, once and for all. But that's an impossible wish. Well, she nodded toward Ophelia's wrist. "What are you waiting for? Check your bracelet." Why was she so eager for Ophelia to find her wisher? Scarlet didn't know. Just a few Moogles earlier, she wanted desperately for Ophelia to fail, but now, oddly, not so much. She was sure as a sundial the bracelet would be glowing like a fiery flare, but no, the star-shaped jewels on the bracelet were lifeless as they could be before. "I thought we'd find her, didn't you?" Scarlet looked over her shoulder to the tall girl, still so close to them, watching her friend's bus pull away. "Maybe she is my wisher," said Ophelia. "Maybe it's just like my star zap. My wish pendant is powerless too." She looked down at her wrist in frustration. Then suddenly her head bent farther down. "Did you bring a glowworm here with you from Starland?" she asked, pointing toward the ground. "What?" "You're glowing. There, on your ankle. Under your, what do you call those again?" "Jeans," said Scarlet, distracted as if she followed Ophelia's eyes. Her ankle was glowing, even through the heavy pants. She yanked up her cuff to discover the hot pink star buckles on her own wish pendant boots, shining like quasars on her feet. She looked up at Ophelia. "It's not a glowworm. It's my wish pendant." Ophelia's eyes were as round as moons. "Why is your wish pendant glowing?" "Don't ask me. How should I know?" Chapter 11. Okay. I will see you guys later.